And you're going to create stronger and better relationships with your referral partners. And these are, I've said to clients for since 1996 or 7 that these transactions are sophisticated legally and complicated financially. So you need a real pro. And now this situation has gotten these circumstances, I should say, have made relationships exclusive. There's only those that are going to be able to handle them, and others won't.
Listen,
And
if I'm a loan officer, if I'm a lender, I'm a loan officer right now, and let's throw in AI into this equation, right? Because we don't hear a lot about it, at least in our business. I mean, we hear ChatGPT, but if I'm a loan officer and I'm thinking about borrowers, right? Let's face it, people get a mortgage once or twice in a lifetime. There's a very low understanding, but there's an AI, reality out there where if I'm a buyer and I want to go into some AI platform and just tell them my situation, my income, my credit score, my job history, I could give an entire narrative of just like I would speak to a loan officer, I could speak into an AI platform, and it will come back to me with all these options. And now, again, if I'm a loan officer, okay, there's a component. It's kind of like a realtor back when the MLS came online, right? It's like, now the community is going to have information, access to my information. Well, if I'm a loan officer and I know that my information can be, easily downloaded by and given options and explanations and a whole thing. So what's my value as a loan? Where is my loan officer value? Right. And I think the shift is doing a great job on the loan and giving options and problem solving and all that stuff. But I think it's the new addition of, am I bringing real business opportunity to my partners, right? And if I can do that, it's gonna codify me more into the transaction. I'm gonna be more interwoven into that process. And that's what I think it's about. I mean, I think there's almost too much information out there, right? I mean, the consumer can only absorb so much information. So information has its place, but it's what do we do with that information, and how do we deploy it? And then if I deploy it well and I'm up against other loan officers that deploy it well, then what's my value? I've got to bring more into the equation. And that's where I think the lending community, I mean, let's face it, what did we see? We heard this, this Rocket Mortgage, making an acquisition.
right.
What was that?
Redfin.
And so as we see maybe these mortgage companies and real estate companies start to kind of formulate each other, and we're going to see these collaborations between the two. I mean, why are they happening? They're happening for a reason. So if I'm a loan officer, I got to ask myself, what is my value proposition to my realtor partners? And if your answer is, I do a really, really great job on the mortgage, I think you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's exactly what your realtor partners expect of you, and they can get it from the few other good loan officers in your marketplace. The question you have to ask yourself is, what business opportunities am I putting before my realtor partners? Am I really bringing them business? And if you're looking to kind of create that true collaboration, that to me is undeniable. It's irrefutable. There's not a loan officer out there who can call a realtor and say, if I were to play a major role or any role in helping you acquire listings, would that be a good basis and a good foundation to have a good exchange of business? You're going to be hard pressed to find a realtor who's going to say no. But if you call up a realtor tomorrow as a loan officer and say, hi, I'm a loan officer, I'd love an opportunity to do your business. I do an amazing job on loans. I've got great interest rates and 1,000 different mortgage products. Do you think we can do business together? You're going to hear, hello? Hello?
And that happens. And there's, these lenders that even I come across now are looking for coffee and donuts and that whole breakfast.
Well, in the mortgage world, you've got this new pivot trying to make realtors loan officers. It's kind of like the reverse of what I'm saying, try to get them to become licensed. And I don't really know how that will pan out. It's not new. It's been around for a while. Will the realtor want to take on, even if their only job is to forward a link to the bank? They are becoming responsible in some way to that consumer. So will they want that? I don't know. I haven't seen that picking up with any steam yet. I know that there's a number of lenders out there that are kind of developing that model, or they've developed it and they're rolling it out. But it's funny with that. I hear, like, everywhere I go, I hear there's, are there regulatory issues? Are there not regulatory issues? RESPA, yes, no. I mean, some lenders do it, some lenders don't. Some, federal savings concerns are less. You hear, it's kind of muddy. I don't know. But is that going to be the pathway, for a loan officer? Now my realtor is going to be recommending me because they're going to be. I don't know. But what I do know is that if you get them a listing, they'll be pretty happy.
Sure. And there's so much opportunity now between listing agents and lenders, because the properties are there, sitting on the market. Either if they're even in their contract, that seller will be a buyer. And that's a great opportunity to meet that seller, see if you can catch an incubated connection before they're really looking. They may not have begun their search in earnest until they see the results of their home sale.
Right. But even the seller that might be a buyer, the way I always say it is, that seller is the beginning of a relationship. So forget that seller being a buyer. That seller might have 10 friends that might refer you. So we always have to think of the relationship first and the opportunity second, right? So, let's say I'm a loan officer and I help a realtor get a listing, and I meet the homeowner, and that homeowner is going to buy a new house. They don't even need a mortgage. But hold on a second. If I build a relationship with that seller, just like the realtor is going to get referrals, maybe I'll get referrals from that sellers, from their friends and family and coworker and neighbors that might need a mortgage down the line. So you have to think in a more expansive way.
Sure.
It's not always about what am I going to get today. Every so many salespeople are like, what am I going to get right now? If I don't get a lead from my realtor in the next 30 seconds, pass on to the next one. So it's the relationship and putting yourself as a loan officer into the roads of relationship opportunities.
Sure. And we started by saying list to last. We're saying now list effectively to create those stronger relationships and gain more referrals.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a listing, listen. The only group of people that could care less about this whole policy change have been listing agents, right? It's irrelevant to them. So if you really want to, and why? Because if you're a listing agent and you've got your prospecting machine down well, you're going to get business. It's very predictable when you're a prospecting listing agent. When you're a buyer's agent, life is very unpredictable. When you meet a buyer for the first time, it is very unpredictable what's going to happen with that. But when I get a listing, or if I'm prospecting and I know my numbers and I know my conversions and whatnot, and I list that house correctly, which is always the most important thing to do. I always say a listing sells the day you take it, provided you take it correctly. It's money in the bank. Meeting a buyer at an open house and starting a 9-month journey with them, on the 8th month and 29th day, they can call you up and say, listen, we're buying a FSBO. Thank you so much. But if you prospect, get a listing, take it right, not only will you be guaranteed income, you'll be guaranteed a premium income, because sellers have already accepted the idea of paying listing agents premium commissions. They have no problem paying a listing agent a listing fee. What they've struggled with is being responsible for the other half of a commission that they have absolutely zero control over.
Good point. Right. Well, Scott, fantastic as always.
Okay.
For the industry.